What's up, guys? Belligerent here with another Bloodline video, and we're gonna chat about some of the updates here. The stuff in the background is just kind of playing for the background purposes. Okay, so let's talk about a couple of things. I want to try and cover 3 topics, and I'll try and keep it short. So first, let's get into the obvious thing: the new clan that was just released. I'll do a more in-depth, proper video for the clowns that just came out, the gestures, I guess maybe they're called. So just a quick, should you go for them, should you not? I don't know if the champions are that valuable, but I do think the trait is super valuable, so you should check that out. Kind of make your own determination there when you're thinking about drawing for them. Every time a new clan comes out, I get all the questions. Should we summon these champions? I will continue to say that you should not be judging a new banner event by the champion, but more so by the companion, by the trait. You can get companions and you can get companion fodder from not only the banner event, but any banner event that from a champion that is released after that particular champion. So you always have the chance to summon these things again. Don't waste your stones based on the champion, right? You should be spending your stones on companions for clans that have clan traits you might want to put on a champion now or in the future. And in a meta where attack speed is king, a trait that gives everybody a stackable attack slow might be pretty valuable. So just that's kind of my initial thoughts on that. But again, I'll do a more proper video on the new clan that just came out later. But I just kind of wanted, and mostly, again, I want to touch on the thought and the topic of how you should be approaching banner events in Bloodline. It's different than other games. You need to be approaching banner events in Bloodline about, do you want the companion or not? You can get the champions later. You can get them to Mythic later. Now, if you're, a spender and your resource, you don't care about the resources that you spend, or you're a collector, you're trying to get all of the companions, you want the companions for your district, that's fine. But obviously, if you fall into especially if you fall into the spender category and you're just going to get them because you're going to get them, then obviously you don't need my advice. You just pull the things and you get them. But if you're on limited resources and you're asking me the question about whether you should use your summon stones or not use your summon stones, you should be looking at the clan trait of the new clan that came out, not whether the champions are good or not. You can worry about that later. Okay. All right. So let's move on to the next topic. And the one that's really kind of on my mind is this lovely love-hate relationship between myself and probably you guys listening to me and the decisions made in this game. I don't want to say the game, because I think the game is of all the games I've tried, it's my favorite. That's why I came back to it. I like the game. I like the premise of the game. And, in part, I like that I know what I know about the game because I've spent so much time developing that knowledge. However, the decisions that are made, and I don't want to, after a conversation I had with somebody, I'm no longer going to say the devs, because it was brought to my attention it may not be the devs' decision what they do. There's a hierarchy in any kind of business. So, but whoever is making these decisions, we have a love-hate relationship, because I love the game and I hate their decisions most of the time. So, the nerf to Steadfast. Everybody's asking me about it. Is it still worth running Steadfast? This and this and this and that and this. Okay. Now, when I was initially told that it was a 5-second there was the 5-second timer added to the shield. I didn't think it was that big of a deal. It's a 6-second cooldown anyway. So assuming that the cooldown start is triggered from the moment that the shield is activated, like any other skill, and not triggered from the moment that the shield expires, that's not that big a deal. Assuming your shield is lasting you the full 5 seconds, it's a 6-second cooldown. It's ready to go a second later after it expires. It doesn't seem that big of a deal to me as far as the time. The strength change, however, is concerning. Now, when I went back and I read the patch notes on it, it does say that the strength change is just a wording change. I don't buy that, honestly. Not because I feel like my shields are disappearing faster. A lot of people are going, oh, my shields are like Swiss cheese now. I don't know. Mine seem to be lasting the same amount of time in the fight. I honestly can't tell, but I wasn't really studying the amount of time they lasted prior to either. I do know that they went up and they went down throughout the fight, but I would be lying if I said I actually timed or took any type of measurement as far as how long they lasted. If it's just a wording, okay, so neither way is really acceptable. If it's just a wording correction, how is the wording that far off? It was like 400 and something percent, 412% at level 18, I believe, if I recall correctly. And the wording was off, and it was really only 177.5%. Like, whoever typed in 412 instead of 177 should be fired. Because that, like, I don't even know how you make that kind of clerical error. Like, if it was correcting it from 187 to 177 or something, fine. 287, numbers that are close to each other, okay, maybe. However, like, so I don't, it would be hard for you to convince me that it was a clerical error unless they were testing it in their non-existent testing environment at 412, and the person that does all of the stats typed up what they were testing, and then there was a change and they were never told. So it doesn't seem like it's just a clerical error. So that shield should be weaker. I'm not saying it's not. I'm saying I haven't noticed it, but I'm also saying I haven't really put that much time into watching it either. I tend not to watch the combat anymore in like Guild Conquest or anything unless I lose. Right? If I lose, I'll go back, I'll watch the fights and see what happened so I can make adjustments. But I don't generally watch them. So I'm not in tune with how long the shields are supposed to last. A while back when I was ranting and raving about Devala and how Devala needed to get a nerf, and I was not the only one saying this by any stretch of the imagination. The response I most often got, including from some of you, about not wanting the Devala nerf was that they can't nerf her because we spent money on her. Okay. Well, then this should fall under the same guidelines. So I don't know how they got away with it here, but couldn't get away with it with Devala and actually fix the balance of the game. Nobody was complaining about Steadfast breaking the game. Sure, is it annoying to suddenly have to fight a bunch of shields that regenerate themselves every 6 seconds? Yeah, I'm not saying it's not. But why fix it? There was nothing that needed to be fixed about Steadfast. Nothing needed to be changed about Steadfast. And frankly, it's It almost pushed me back out the door. I think I'm going to get past it. I don't know if I'm going to get past it sitting here talking about it, though. It's, in a way, it's just theft. Especially when in the past that has not been the modus operandi of the company. Like, they don't rebalance the game because people spend money on it, apparently. But now we're gonna, you know how many people, myself included, although I hadn't made it that far in my journey towards 22, but you know how many people invested a lot of resources in getting a 3-star champion to level 22 just to have you nerf the strength? I'm not sure I'm okay with that. And I know, and it's been my kind of my marching, or not my marching orders. That's the totally wrong term. Nobody's telling me what to do with my videos. It's been my choice and my approach since returning to kind of leave the negativity out. But this is nothing to do with greed. And that was my big issue before. And from what I've heard and seen in other videos, that was a lot of people's issue, was the greed. This has nothing to do with greed. This is almost just theft. People paid for and saved up resources for and did all kinds of stuff to get Steadfast because it was a strong trait, and now it got cut by 2/3. I got to be honest with you. I'm still wrestling with this one in my head, so I don't know where I'm going to come out on it. I was okay with it when I started this video, and now that I'm talking about it, I'm not okay with it. So we'll see where we come out on the other side. Now, on the flip side, here's the love-hate, or I guess I went with the hate first, but here's the love-hate part of this. We finally start getting some depth added to the game. We finally get these runes to change up our gear. Now, in an upcoming video here shortly, I'm going to be diving into that gear to see if it's really depth or if it's just more stuff. We'll take a look, see if we can figure it out. But we're finally getting some depth added to the game, something to change it up. My fear, though, however, is in a game where everything is built around the same stat, like the runes and stuff aren't going to matter. In a game where everything is built on the same stat, the runes and stuff aren't going to matter. That's what my fear is. But we'll see. I do like that they added something to talk about. I do like that it, at least on the surface, and I at the time of me recording this, I don't have a single rune in my inventory, so I don't know. I can't tell you right now whether or not it's added depth or if it's just fluff. I don't know. I can't tell you that. But that, I don't know. Those are kind of my thoughts on 3 different topics. I don't know why they had to do something like Ruin Steadfast at the same time they add. It's like every time they take a step forward and they give us something good and give us something to cheer about, they got to take 2 steps back by doing something else stupid. Like, just like that should be the motto for this company. Just stop being stupid. I don't understand it. I don't understand the benefit to changing Steadfast. It makes no sense. If this was a game that did balance changes, that would be one thing. But this is not a game that does balance changes. They don't change anything. Hell, half the time you can't even get them to, like, we still haven't got them to change text. We still don't know exactly what Karg's ultimate does, how much damage it does, if it applies any status. We don't know because they still haven't changed it since day 1 of the game. So in a game where you don't change anything, Why are you changing steadfast when it's one of the most popular traits and people paid for it? I don't know. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Like, subscribe, tell a friend. I'm Belligerent. Peace.